Welcome to a PCM podcast, a series of informative podcasts with experts in their fields exploring a wide range of topics in payments. The theme for today's session is supporting small businesses with digital transformation. To discuss this topic with me, I'm pleased to say I'm joined by Justine Ducroux, Senior Manager for Small and Medium Businesses, Visa's Commercial Solutions team. Welcome, Justine.
Hi, thanks, Alex.
So, can we start by talking about why it's so important that we support small businesses with digital transformation?
Yes, of course. So, by every metric, small businesses are a key segment in Europe's economy. They account for 99% of all businesses across Europe and also contribute to over half of the GDP. So, that's one of the reasons why at Visa we've committed significant resources to understand the SMB markets so that we can help our clients meet their customer needs better. So the first thing to mention is that what we know, what is true for SMBs, is that their world is constantly changing. They're facing new challenges almost every day, particularly in the current environment. And I'm talking anything from, the economic situation to the different conflicts to regulatory impacts. Every day it seems like there's something new coming to them. And one such challenge amongst all of those is digitalization. So on the face of it, it's a great opportunity. We've seen great benefits in harnessing the potential of digital across almost every industry. You can take examples like, the taxi services, the gig economy. I mean, on the gig economy, simply put, digital is fully embedded. That's where they'll get the job. That's where they get paid. Everything is there. But for SMBs, for other industries, it's not so easy. So businesses are consumer first. They behave a certain way in their personal life, and why for most of them, their personal life is mostly or fully digital. And while they still, on the business side, it's still 68% of them, they want to leverage digital channels where possible. There's still 64% that say the process of moving to digital is challenging. And one of the simple reasons is that it's just a greater impact than when it's just your personal life. When it's business, it's not just you anymore.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And I think digitization means so many different things, so many different people. Perhaps you could go into what it means from a Visa perspective when talking specifically about these SMBs.
Yes. For digitalization in the SMB space, what we mean is that it's the process of transforming systems and processes to digital technologies. For SMBs, a key element of digitalization is automating their existing manual processes to help them, deliver their service faster, to be more efficient. And sometimes that might be as simple as having an online presence or accepting digital payments. It's not just about digitalization on the front end. You also have investment into back office functions like accounting that can also drive operational efficiencies. But where it matters is that keeping business investment costs, such as available for capital expenditure, is also a significant area of interest. But now there's like loads of software as a service providers using pay-as-you-go models, which is typically much more cost-effective for SMBs.
So it's clear that digital transformation can provide these significant benefits for SMBs if they're done and implemented in the correct way. You did mention at the start of the conversation, you used one stat in particular. I think 64% of SMBs in Europe find the process of moving to digital to be the most challenging thing for them. Perhaps you could expand on that a little.
Yes. So a consequence of the digital area that we're in is that now you've got a wealth of platforms and service providers out there. And SMBs have to choose from them, and they have to decide which is the best one to help on their digital journey. So the main problem is simply that SMBs don't know where to start. They don't have necessarily the time or the resources to do the research. So they're really struggling to keep pace with digital and technological change. And additionally, there's also the fear that, if one change is made, it might be soon outdated. And ultimately, in the day-to-day operation, it's also difficult for SMBs that today rely on manual processes to suddenly automate. It's a change on how they operate, and it does have an impact. It often means changing ingrained behavior, and that can be daunting for many. And if you've got people that are a bit more risk adverse and have that, what if in the back of their mind, of things not necessarily working out the way they expect. And ultimately, within those SMBs, they may have a digital skill gaps amongst their people. So not only would they, there's this impact on their operational processes, but they also need to bring on people within the journey of moving to digitalization. So all of that can really prevent them from truly realizing the benefits of digital technologies, because they might not be able to implement or use them as effectively.
So it's clear what the benefits are, but it's also quite clear how difficult it can be for small businesses to make this move, and that they need the kind of the right support at the right time. So what can be done to help SMBs to overcome these challenges?
One of the points that were raised a little bit earlier is, in terms of those challenges, is really the lack of time of resources. So the starting point should be to help them better understand digitalization, its benefits, and how it will evolve in the future. Simply providing them with resources, guidance they need to plug that digital skills gap will help them identify the next move and feel ready for it. One way to help SMBs to future-proof their business, for example, would be to help them shift towards the acceptance and the use of digital payment methods. It's often overlooked, but it's really a central component in any SMB's day-to-day operations. And crucially, it's an element of digitization that doesn't require considerable time and investment. In the market, you'll find software to create an online shop in a few clicks. You no longer need a full acceptance terminal. You can use your phone. So there are ways to make this a little bit simpler. And speaking of time, it's also important to look at how to help SMBs in identifying and simplifying the activities that are most complex to them. And for many, this could be expense management or accounting. There are services and platforms that make those services much more simpler for SMBs. They consolidate all the information in one place. They enable efficient reporting. And actually at Visa, we have developed a solution called Visa Spend Clarity, which issuers can leverage to support their end users, their SMBs.
Now, I know you've done lots of research at Visa on the subject matter of SMBs. Is there anything, I know that you've in particular have looked at the research, and I'm wondering if there's anything specific that you could call out from that research that you think supports this process of digitalization for these guys. We've talked about the stat, 64% here, but is there anything else in that research that you particularly think is of interest?
I think we really need to look at what SMBs really need on their day-to-day and in their day-to-day operations, and where they need the most support. So we've called out acceptance and, accepting digital methods of payments, because simply put, the cash flow is there and the money is already in. So it's already there to be spent versus other ways of accepting payments. We've talked about accounting and expense management, and that's really key as well. Again, from a cash flow perspective, this is what matters: is how can they operate better, more efficiently, smoothly. And I think if we really want to support SMBs, we need to look at how we can enable them through digitalization to help maximize their cash flow today, and how we can support their growth through those tools.
Brilliant. Thank you, Justine. Really appreciate you joining us today and letting us know how SMBs can benefit from this difficult but I fear necessary journey into digitalization. Thanks once again for listening to our podcast. If you'd like to learn more about SMBs from the visa side, please visit www.visa.co.uk/SME. Thank you, Justine.
Thank you, Alex.